Hello, friends, and welcome to the Sold Out Show. My name is Space Apples. Here's where I talk about everything and anything. I hope you've had a good day or night so far. Today's February 1st. So today I have another friend with me. Say hi. Or February 2nd. Close enough.
Hi.
um, we're going to be talking about types of music, types of like genres of music, and probably hopefully instruments and stuff like that.
Whatever you want. Everything and anything is the theme from what I
Yes.
hear around here.
Yes. So, what do you want to start with?
Well, first of all, I will introduce myself. I am Darth Victor B on Rumble, and I play bass and guitar, and I can sing a little bit, but mostly I'm a bass player.
So cool. I attempt at guitar and I attempt at bass.
I believe you play another instrument too that we've
Ukulele.
we've actually performed together
And
before, right?
ukulele.
Yeah. See? So, yeah, that was fun.
It was.
So, is there a turkey in the studio?
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, and you mentioned some. I listened to your first show. I listened to your second show too, which was cool. By the way, I learned a lot about hair and skin,
Yes.
makeup mostly, which I don't wear, but it was informative nonetheless. Um, and yeah, you got into music. I loved how you got there. By the way,
Thank
you
you.
were talking about I don't know fishing or something, or I don't even know
Fishtails.
fishtail
Fishtail hair
braids.
stuff
Yes, and you said
thing.
something about a slip knot, and you said, "Well, Slipknot. I love Slipknot." That's a good way to get to music. It means you're being raised right. Slipknot makes you think of music. That's good. So, what do you want to know?
So I think I talked about one of the things that I was really curious about was when music was first like created or when it was a thing. How do you know?
Man, I don't. I mean, I think music is as soon as we've had language and as soon as we had time to, maybe even before we had time to sit and think more, we we would express, I mean, language is a kind of music really to start out with from a simple standpoint. There's some languages that are totally based on the tone of voice you make and make certain things in that is what it has a great meaning to it. So but music's probably always been with us, but as far as like instruments and stuff, I don't know. There's a thing that growing up in the United States in the latter half of the 20th century, like I did. I guess I'm old. There was a movie we watched. Oh, I don't know how many times I watched it in music class. It was called Toot Whistle Plunk and Boom. I don't have a link to it. I'm sorry. Maybe we can find one. Maybe we can find it to pin to your description before we go to air. Who knows? But it was about the major kinds of instruments that you specifically referencing the orchestra. There was toot, the brass, whistle, the woodwinds, plunk was a string. I'm a plunk guy, right?
Yeah.
And boom was he used to beat on his belly as a big bass drum. He'd go boom on his belly and make a big bass drum. It was pretty funny. So yeah, I think music's probably always been with us. And
cool.
A lot of people, if you take your introduction to music classes, in music appreciation 101, they'll tend to trace Western music back to like the Gregorian chants, the church chants in the early couple centuries AD. And once somebody figures something out, usually people tend to take it on further and make it better. Like that's just what we do, and that's what's happened. So that's what I would say. That's all I got for that.
So, sorry, I was moving my chair.
It's okay.
It was way too close. I have a question about instruments. I recently joined band for my school,
Cool.
and I'm gonna play a clarinet.
Nice.
But I think that
Whistle.
we decided, huh?
Whistle.
Yeah. I think we somehow got to the conclusion that it was a woodwind. But how do you tell what instruments are like what? Like a woodwind, things like that. I don't know other ones.
Well, there's brass.
Yeah, brass.
There's woodwind. There's string. That's plunk, and then there's percussion. Those are your typical orchestral divisions of what they are. Woodwind instrument actually has, you're going to have a part that's removable on the mouthpiece of that's actually made of wood. It's made of
the
reed. It's called
right?
a reed. Yep.
Yes.
You have to take care of your reeds.
What does a reed do? I asked my friend, but they did not answer.
That's
what
I don't know. You literally have to bite. You bite down on it like this, and you blow. I had friends who played saxophone. You have to bite down on it and blow, and the reed is actually what makes. Like if you just take the mouthpiece off the instrument and you blow in it, it'll just squeak, kind of like a duck call. Yeah, my friends were doing that.
I hadn't had my instrument on the first day of band class, so they were like, "Oh, what instrument do you play?" I'm like, "Hopefully clarinet." Nice. And then finally he was like, "Oh yeah, so you're gonna play clarinet. You're gonna sit over there," and like while we were all getting our seats, they would take off their mouthpieces and just blow into them, and it was so loud. It was chaotic, but it was so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a bunch of duck calls, right?
It does. It does. Is that just what a duck call is?
Well, pretty much. It's a there's a reed inside that vibrates, and what it's literally a reed. They would shave a piece of reed flat, and it's just like a sliver of wood like that wide, but really thin. You saw them.
Yeah. They would. Why would like some of them were like keeping them in their mouths before they'd put it onto their instrument?
Because they got to be wet to work to vibrate properly. And because it's like an extension of the same. It's kind of similar to how your vocal cords work. They just vibrate really fast and slap together as the air goes through them, and that's the way it works. That's how it works. That's why. Well, like that lady we watch on YouTube. On YouTube, she's always talking about.
She pauses it every 2 seconds. Yeah. It's like a music teacher. In 5th grade, I had this music teacher, or like 4th or 5th, and he'd like. We do a song and he'd like pause it every 3 seconds. So we're gonna go over what the word "good" means. Like, okay, sick. Let us sing the song.
Yeah, right. But no, it's so that's what that. She talks about your vocal cords going wacka wacka. Right? I know she's funny, but but she's very. I mean, that's very scientific about how that instrument, your voice, this instrument here works, and it's kind of like trying to mimic a human song, right? It's like a singer who can never be out of tune as long as you're, is making it, and you can, it's making the proper vibrations in the mouthpiece, and the tube is the proper length, and you cover the holes in the right order, and
that's kind of like what a flute. What is a flute?
Yes,
or not a flute. What is it called? A recorder.
Yes, also a recorder is also.
Oh yeah. Is this saxophone?
Yep.
So why do they call woodwind instruments woodwind when they're not all made out of wood?
It's the piece that makes the noise is the wood.
Right.
And actually a flute these days isn't made of wood anywhere anymore, but it's still, it originally was made out of a piece of wood, like a tube of the whole thing. Yeah. That's what a recorder is.
I was sat next to one of my friends who plays saxophone, and it looks like really hard to play. Like it looks very strange. Have you ever played a saxophone?
Yeah, I had friends who played saxophone in band, and we would switch. I played trumpet, and we would switch each other's instruments once in a while. And they'd play a little trumpet, and I'd play a little saxophone. And of course, we were all playing the same songs together already in band, but we would try to swap and play each other's parts on each other's instruments, and quite often was a train wreck. but once in a while, we'd do pretty good. But yeah, saxophone is it's physically hard to play because it's big, and you have to have a long reach. Of course, depending on an alto or soprano sax isn't very big, but if you get into a tenor sax or you're carrying around a hunk of metal there.
Yes.
So
it looked. Why do they only have like one strap on it? Is there like, because they only have it around your neck, and that looked like he was being choked, and I felt so bad. I was does that not hurt?
It's around the back of your neck though, so it's not putting any pressure on where you breathe. You couldn't put pressure on where you breathe.
True, you'd be.
You have to breathe. You have to breathe to play the instrument. Right? You gotta get your lungs in there.
Yes.
And yeah, well, it's because it hangs it right from its balance point. That way, you don't really have to hold it up. It's like when if your guitar is sitting on a strap right, you can let go of it, and it doesn't they talk about the dreaded neck dive. If certain models of guitar, you let go of them, and they just boom. Thunderbird, I'm looking at you.
The purple one. I play a small electric one that's his, and isn't it like that one? I'll try to hold that and like have something else in front of me and do it, and like it'll fall over usually.
Yeah. Well, I also that strap's a little long.
It very
For
much
that.
is. It's on my hips.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But.
No, it's okay. It's yours.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could put another. You can dig out your strap and throw it on there when you want to play, whatever. Where were we talking about? Oh, because it hangs it from the strap on the saxophone hooks on.
Yes.
There's a little thing, and that's where you can just hold it up. From that
True,
point, it'll
yeah.
stay balanced. Because that way, your hands are free to play the instrument. You don't have to hold it up.
Yeah.
You don't have to support all that weight. I mean, you're going to support some with your hands. That's just natural, but it's mostly you hang it and your hands are free to play the instrument that way.
Yeah.
So. Next.
So I talked about.
You said brass too. You asked.
Said brass. Yeah.
Why is it brass?
I'm trying.
It's okay.
Trumpets and what is it called?
Trumpets.
French horn.
French horns.
I'm trying to. What is it called? Oh no.
Boom, boom,
A tuba?
Yep,
no,
yes,
I'm not thinking.
Yep.
I wasn't
tuba,
thinking of that one, but yes, a tuba as well. Oh, it's long. It's huge. Trombone. Thank you.
The slide, yep.
It's the big trumpet.
Yep. It is the big slidey bass trumpet.
Yes.
Yep. Yes, those are all brass instruments that you listed, and they literally have a mouthpiece that is made out of brass.
Yes.
And solid brass, and that like you have to keep a reed wet so it works. In a woodwind instrument, as a brass instrument, you need to heat up. You got to make sure that the mouthpiece is warm enough to work. Wet is kind of your enemy in a brass instrument. There's actually valves in the brass instruments.
Yes,
called spit valves.
Yes, I remember you told me one time, like your
They're
music
gross.
room, it was carpeted, and like you'd empty out the spit valve, and it would like the floors would smell really bad.
No, it wasn't me. That's not my story.
Okay.
Our rooms were definitely not carpeted in the music room.
Oh, true.
No, that wasn't me.
or the wooden. Sorry, not carpeted. What?
It was vinyl tile, as I remember, but it was just.
Might have been someone else then.
It must have been someone else.
I would hope.
I don't remember. No, I wouldn't do that on carpet, anyways. No, you just do it in a wastebasket right there. There's no big deal.
What else?
It's to be expected. Everybody knows. It's part of playing the instrument. But yeah, they have a brass mouthpiece that's like a ring. A thick brass ring, and then the shape of that ring channels the vibration which you make by your lips. You just kind of you literally like do a raspberry sound, keep your lips really tight, and you like that. I can't do it anymore. I haven't done it in years, but yeah, that's how you have to keep your lips really tight. And so it's amplifying your voice basically and keeping it in tune. So then you have to supply the air for the sound with your lungs. So it kind of.
So I have another question. So one of my friends plays baritone, but isn't that also like that's an instrument, I believe so, right?
The baritone horn?
Yeah. I believe so. It's huge. It's like really heavy.
It's like it's probably like this big.
But isn't that also like pretty much.
Yep. And it's got
case
a big
is
coil.
enormous. It's insane. But what was I gonna ask about it? Isn't that also like a sound? Like a baritone is a sound?
It's like a range of.
Okay.
It's not as low as bass, but it's not as high as I don't know what comes next. Alto.
No idea. Probably.
But because like if you have a baritone guitar, which I don't yet, it's not as low as a bass guitar, but it's a full. Gosh, I don't want to get this wrong, especially on the internet. I think it's a fourth plus an octave lower.
Right. So what was it again?
It's a baritone guitar. I think it's an octave plus a fourth lower because it's a B. The lowest string is a B.
Oh wait, chord or what is it?
Yeah, it's a six string. It's B1 E2. Yeah, and so yes, it's B1 E2, A2, D3, F sharp 3, B 3.
No
So
idea what this means. By the way.
yeah. But a standard guitar tuning is, I believe it's E3, A3, D3, G3, B3, E4. I believe.
Okay.
So that's on those.
Why,
that refers to where the locations in those notes are on the piano. But you probably know that already, kind of. Little.
So yeah. Why do strings and like chords like that all have like what do the sharp mean? What does the numbers mean? I just
Well,
it makes
the
no sense.
three middle C is C0, I believe, and then that's the middle of the piano keyboard.
Yes.
Middle C, and it's like when you have the musical staff with the treble clef on top and the bass clef on the bottom, there's only one note in the middle of it. And that's the C. There's not one note. There's a space, a line, a space between it. You'll learn about lines and spaces here. You're going to be very acquainted with them. Oh, you're about to become very acquainted with them. No, it's a good thing. It's cool. It's a really useful skill. I'm happy that you have the opportunity. So I believe that is referred to as C0, and then below.
Because then don't chords only go up to F?
They doesn't start at 0. I don't know what it is.
Don't chords 3. Only go through A through F? Am I right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
No, sorry, G.
Those are the note names. Yes, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Yeah.
And then we have sharps and flats in there because there's 12 half steps in an octave in Western music.
Yes.
And whether the sequence of the whole and half steps that we use to get from one C to the next, or one A to the next, or one B to the next, or one F sharp to the next, whatever we're doing, that determines the minor or majorness of it, like the sequence of the steps. And it makes a sound. Gives it a different feel too, and it works in the chords too, because the different parts of the scale that you play all together in a chord feel very different, even though you're playing almost the same notes. You can pick up you can just pick up a finger on the guitar and it sounds amazingly different. Yeah. Like you go from an E to an E minor. I should have tuned a guitar before the show. I don't want to waste your time and do that now.
There's a tuned one. Trust.
Yeah, well,
it's the purple one.
Yeah, we'd have to plug that in though. It's the acoustic. But yeah, next time I'll tune a guitar.
Okay.
Before the show, and we'll talk about how the differences are. But that's technical stuff about music, and you're going to have a lot more technical knowledge about music the next time.
Hopefully, because I joined. We just started quarter 3 of like school, and I joined right like where everyone else has already joined and already knows stuff and songs and each other and knows how to play their instruments.
Well, then you got a lot of help sitting next to you, then, don't you?
Yes, I do.
See? It's good thing to do. Rhythm is about to be a good friend of yours too.
Yes, I learned a few things already on my first day, which is very good. He's a good teacher. I love my band teacher. He's good. So nice.
I like to hear
music teacher too. She's very sweet. She's a Swiftie.
Cool.
Oh my gosh.
Very cool.
So another question that I had was why do they call it sharp? Like, what's the difference between a sharp and anything else?
Well, a sharp, if you make a note sharp, you make it 1/2 step higher. If you make it flat, you make it 1/2 step lower. Like there is a full step between F and G, for example.
Okay.
And if I'm on my way up the scale and I play that 1/2 step between them, we call it F sharp. And if we're on our way down the scale, or depending on which key we're playing in, whether we're playing the minor or the major scale that note appears in, we call it G sharp or G flat. Sorry, F sharp and G flat are the same notes, just how you get there. It's the 1/2 step between the F and the G. For example, there's a whole step between F and G, so you need a sharp or a flat to tell you to take that 1/2 step. Between B and C, there's not a full step. There's only a one. There's only a half step. And between E and F, there's only a half step. So there's no E sharp. E sharp is F.
Okay.
But everything else like C sharp is, or B sharp is C. Sorry, C sharp is C sharp.
Oh, wowie.
C sharp is D flat. They're the same note, depending on
Okay.
which way you're going in the scale.
Would it also
and
be? Would it be the same as wait, A B C D? So D sharp is C flat or
D
no?
sharp is E flat.
Okay, so it's not how.
It's the one. If you sharpen it, you're going up, right? So
Okay, not back. Okay.
Up towards E or down towards D. D up towards E is D sharp.
Okay.
That's how that works.
And D flat is C
sharp.
Sharp.
Because D flat is on its way back down to C, but C sharp is on its way up to D.
Okay.
It's the same note, really. There's not two different keys on the piano. There's just one black key there. So,
yeah.
But it's how you write it that determines what you're calling and the context of the mostly the key and the mode of the song that you're playing. So this has turned out way more technical than the notes I had from your discussion of your last program. I'm hoping I'm not poking all the holes in my music theory knowledge here, but no, it's good for me.
So look at your notes because I have a few questions.
Well, you talked about no, you can ask. It's your show, man.
I know, but go ahead. I cannot read your handwriting for
Okay.
anything, so you do it.
Okay, so I mean, I don't mind having a technical discussion. We are going ways. No, you talked about like where different. We talked about where it first came from. We already covered that, but
yes.
You got starting about like how many different types of music are there. Well,
yes,
gosh, that's like how many different languages are there almost, really. I mean, if you think about it,
192 million.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Including all the fake ones we make up as like third graders. That's always fun. You like try to, as a kid, you're like, so this symbol that looks like hieroglyphics. Huh?
Instapot.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you make up your ciphers and stuff.
Yes. But yeah, you mentioned something about blues music and how I said or not blues, sorry, country.
Country, yeah.
And how I really don't like it. You said something about how I probably do. I just don't know it. Tell me more about that.
You know that little chord progression thing I'm always playing around and horsing around with, that I'm always play, like when I warm up and then I play that little finger picking chord thingy on the guitar, not on the blues. Sorta. You've heard it. You'd go, oh yeah, that.
Oh, like the butt. Yeah. I know.
The chord progression.
Yes.
That's pretty much a country riff. I mean, that's basically a country riff. I mean, yeah, for
lick. I don't know.
Yeah, that's no lick is a little. Like, that's pretty much a country song, basically.
Oh,
it's a country kind of format, country progression. The way I pick it is definitely very country.
So I have a question. There's a song that I like to listen to in the shower. You would know, Rockstar.
Yeah.
From Nickelback. Is that country?
That's kind of country. That's kind of blues country. It talks rock and roll. I mean, that's yeah. I want to be a rock star. Don't you?
What's the difference between? Because I'm so. What's the difference between rock and metal?
About 30 decibels. A couple of 100 beats per minute.
No, I mean like do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I know what you mean. But to answer your question about Nickelback, they're from Texas.
Oh, so it's very country. So
anything they're going to do is going to be kind of country-ish. Pantera is from Texas. They're from the same town as they're from the same town as Nickelback, and yes, we are. And they're kind of, I mean, if you listen to some of especially if you listen to them live, like they have a little twang going on, and the Abbott's dad,
the who?
Vinny and Dime's father, he's Abbott. I can't remember he just passed away too, actually, but he was a producer.
Oh.
He produced a few country songs. I don't fact check me on that one too, but I'm sure he did. They weren't like, I'm not sure it was anybody huge or anything like that, but they had a they had access to a studio at a very young age, and they had a lot of country influences, and they're one of the dankest, most groovy metal bands in the world, right? I mean,
Yes.
to this day. So,
Another one. What was it?
so there's your country too influence.
Yes.
Anyways,
Um,
that you didn't know you liked.
what would you say? The Smiths. Do you know that band? Of course you know that band.
That's like
What?
a
What?
they're kind
What
of
are
like
they?
a that's like they're like an 80s alternative
I
kind of
love
thing,
them.
right?
I
They're
love.
like
Well, I don't love
they're
them
kind of
that
one
much.
of am I
It's their.
thinking of them? They're like kind of jangly. They kind of like the
I
Cure.
know one song from them. The light that never goes out. I believe
That
that's a good song. I like
sounds
that
like
one.
yeah. They're not like punky like lots of distortion. No,
No,
no, okay.
no, no, no,
They're more
no.
like punky, like jangly, like
I don't know.
REM.
I don't think I could play it,
Well,
but
yeah, but it's not like slamming hard. It's
no,
like
absolutely not. It's like a very soft song.
clean
Clean,
electrics,
yeah.
lots of
Not
chorus,
soft, I
lots of
shouldn't
ambient
say.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
What would you call them? What would you call
That's
them?
definitely like an 80s alternative
Okay.
kind
Also,
of
what does alternative
Cure-ish.
mean?
Um, not mainstream popular. You know, like back when it started out, it was kind of like it meant you were big on college radio alternative because there would be
Ah,
college radio stations that didn't, you know, the kids could go in and then they'd be late night DJs or whatever, and they'd play whatever they wanted to. It was basically public access, but not really because it was the college station. It was the broadcast major kids were doing it, and I don't know if they still do this or not because there's so much. I mean, we're not we're not broadcast majors,
nope.
you know. So
nope. I'm using Canva to edit my videos. Nope.
So but they would play. You know, they had airtime and they would play stuff that they liked that wasn't necessarily or bands that their friends were in or whatnot.
Yeah.
Or kind of underground tapes and stuff that would go around, get passed around, not necessarily be on the radio. So it was an alternative to, you know, the mainstream stuff that was going on, like, you know, in the 80s, you know, hair metal was big, and you know, in people my age, you know, people who are growing up then, you know, then you had, you know, that was when Madonna was starting out, and you had, you know, all your pop stuff. Michael Jackson, talk about music legends. Michael Jackson, you know, well, he got his start when he was very, very young, back in the 60s, 70s. But
he's
I mean,
the Jackson 5.
He did, yes. And
you've heard of them, even if you haven't heard of them.
You've heard them, even if you don't know it.
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
you've heard of the Beatles, even if you haven't heard of the Beatles. Come on.
You've heard them as well. So
yes, it's like I'm trying to think of another artist.
Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I apologize. The mighty Led Zeppelin.
I
forgot.
You've heard of them, even if you haven't heard of them.
Admonish me.
Yeah.
If you get that reference, you are cool.
Try to think of other ones that are like you would not know the name of the Journey.
Oh yeah,
you've heard of them. If you haven't, you know the song, you don't know their band.
That's definitely, I think, more if you're young.
Of my young, or if
you are young, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
you know,
yes.
It's
my parents are old.
Everybody, yeah, true. It's true. But yeah, everybody my age knows Journey. When you say Journey, they know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, whoa, sorry.
And who you're talking about. So yes, so we're deep in the rock and roll genre, which has started, and this is, I mean, I'm happy to come back for a part 2 if you'd like to discuss some less technical and more esoteric stuff. I know we're getting kind of long and you don't really have a format, but I mean,
that is okay.
We're approaching half an hour, just letting you know.
That
so I'm happy to keep talking, or we can do another show. Totally up to you. I got time.
I'm trying to think of other things. Just pull your glasses. Oh, yeah.
No, you asked about. I know. That's that's what I said. We're up to a half an hour here, so it's a long show.
Yes. I think my last one
You,
was about this long.
yeah, well, yeah, roughly. Yeah. You talked about what different types. Country. You said you didn't like. We covered that. K-pop.
Yes, K-pop. We
K-pop.
talked about this
You said,
before.
yeah, we did. We
I
talked about this a little bit.
deeply dislike
So
them.
what was your
Something about them just makes
what was
me
your question
mad.
about K-pop?
Um,
It was just I
why?
have here why? Yeah, why?
Why?
Why? I have one word answer for that. Korea.
Yeah.
Korea exists, man. That's all I got to
I
say about
just
that.
something about
It
that.
is.
There's also
It's a
a lot of people are gonna very I'm trying to think of a word, disagree with me. Florence and the Machine, like that kind of like Mitski, Florence and the Machine. You don't know any of those people,
well,
or
just
do you?
because I'm old.
Yeah, but like their kind of genre of music, it's like that. I don't know. It just doesn't. It just makes me mad for
I
some
have a
reason.
feeling that
I love I like the lyrics. I just don't like the or TV Girl too. I'm gonna get so much. I'm gonna get fired. Uh,
are they going to cancel you?
yeah, because they're like very. I
You don't
can't
get
think of their
canceled
name.
on
I
Rumble.
cannot pronounce it for the life of me. Yeah, starts with a B. I don't know how to say it.
Anyways,
But their like genre of music just makes me so mad for
this
some
is
reason.
K-pop
If
you're
it was
talking about.
no, those are
Oh,
like slower paced songs, but they're like I don't know how to explain it
is it
honestly.
like a Billie Eilish kind of thing? Like I'm just
No,
sad? No. Okay, never mind.
kind of sad.
Never mind then.
Yeah,
I don't go for that either.
Mitski. I don't know how to say that one girl's name. Florence and the
Well,
Machine.
you give me a list.
K-pop.
Give me a list of
All of
this
that
kind of
stuff makes
stuff,
me
and
mad for some reason.
I feel like I'm gonna regret saying this to you, but give me a list of this kind of stuff, and we can discuss why we don't what we don't like about it. And
We're
you
gonna
can give me
get
some homework
cooked.
for our next show, but we can we said what's the difference between rock and metal, and I gave you a joking answer too, but
True.
they're
30
really
decibels.
about 30 decibels and some gain, some distortion.
Because
I
like you're
think
listening to them, I could not tell the difference between Motley. Well, okay, the crew, the I'm trying the tone of Motley Crue and then the tone of Slipknot. They're all like metal-ish rock, right?
well,
Which one's
yeah, I
rock and
mean,
which one's metal? Would you say
Motley Crue is
another one you have
definitely
heard
hard.
of, but you haven't heard of?
Yes, definitely metal-ish, hard rock for sure.
Okay.
They're definitely have that. They have more of that blues influence that is in metal. They have the blues, which you
Yes.
don't realize or not.
I
But
guess I don't.
there's a lot of like
I don't like pure blues
the same chord
songs.
the same chord shapes really are useful in both styles of music, especially on the low end. And rock and roll definitely has a little blues in it, but it has much more of again a country type influence because like the Beatles, they played like a
They're like
they're definitely they're a rock band
yeah, rock.
from they played rock and roll from the, they're on classic rock stations. They're on oldie stations now.
Yeah.
But
Peepaw. No, I'm kidding. Grandpa over here. No, I'm
do
kidding.
they? Well, no, they're on. Well, they were on classic rock stations when I was in high school, college.
Yeah.
Now the stuff I listened to when I was in high school was classic
Like
rock.
on the oldies. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And I think metal has more of a straightforward. I'm gonna get killed for this one. Like more of a drive to it, more of a.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of like the way Pantera plays, and then that's even like a subgenre. People will call them like groove metal or whatever because they're not like
I only know
like if you
one
think
song
of
off the
like
top of my head from them.
Metallica's first couple albums. That's like and Megadeth. And
Yeah.
that's like the beginning of thrash metal or whatever. Exodus
Yeah.
and Texas. That's kind of a genre where they had your riffs are driving straight forward, lots of zeros,
Yeah. I'm always
palm
so
muting,
confused.
lots of
I'll be reading the tab for like any instrument. I'm like, yeah, are you gonna ever put your finger down on any fret?
and
Okay, get it, girl.
yes, and then a band like Guns N' Roses is much more beatly, you know, they are they
Yeah.
have more I hate to say more complex arrangements. They You tend to branch out in more instruments in a rock and roll genre.
Yes.
I know there's been plenty of metal bands that play with, you know, orchestras and whatnot, and their music can be orchestral in nature, but you'll tend to have more people on the stage at a rock and roll band than you will, the first law of
Yes.
metal, right? There's three instruments: guitar, bass, and drums.
Yes.
That's the first law of metal.
Yes.
Rock and roll is not is not
No, I
restricted
guess
to
not.
that.
Yeah.
There's keyboards and saxophones all over the
Oh,
place
for
in rock and
sure.
roll, and so,
So
and
I have
that's
a
not the
question.
only thing that distinguishes it, but I mean it does. I mean, you have to the instruments you're going to play are going to influence the genre, or the genre is going to influence the instruments you play, right? If you want to sound a certain way, Angel of Death does not need a saxophone solo.
True.
you know.
True. 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 I have a question about tabs. Um, why I was reading tabs for a song that I wanted to play on guitar, and it had the frets 55 and 77 and stuff like that. I'll pull it up. Or
Oh
are those
yeah,
just like
they're
the
probably like a
uh
quick little hammer or whatever, hammer on from nowhere, kind of thing. But
yeah. Let me find it. Yeah, see 55, 44, 55, or 33, sorry, 33, 55,
no, that's
55, 55.
3 3 5 5 4 4 5 5 5.
Okay.
Yeah, those are,
That makes so
see,
much more sense.
that's tough. The tablatures like that are
Oh,
hard
that makes sense because
because
that's a
there's
very
no
fast-paced song.
yes
That is
because
not slow at all.
there's no note values in that tablature that you're looking at.
I have no idea what a note value is. What
Quarter
is
note,
it?
half note, 16th note, how fast you're playing
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
is
yeah.
that
The
dot 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 dot
no.
dot 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 dot, or is
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
it dot 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 dot
It's
dot, right?
that.
I
It's
mean,
that.
yeah.
It's
So
that. Option
okay,
2.
yeah,
It's a very
but you
fast
don't know because
song.
that's not written down in tablature. That's just, you need to have your note values there, or
Yes.
you need to know how the song goes, how fast, how the tempo and the syncopation go, because there's no rests or anything in that either that you can see, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing there that indicates rhythm at all. So
I'll probably put this
you have
somewhere in
to
the
know
link
that.
too because this is a good song. Maybe not the lyrics, but it's a good song. Um, so I think that was just about it. What was? Oh yeah, I have a few more things. Um, no, I don't. Never
Well,
mind.
I mean, we can leave it there for now, and we still have more stuff on here to talk about. We can do another episode.
True. Yes.
Lots of content in music.
Very sure. Yeah.
Next time,
Very.
I'll bring a guitar that's in tune.
Um.
But it has,
So
but it's up to you. So,
go ahead.
are,
Go ahead. You were gonna
no,
say
it's up to you.
something.
Are we calling it there?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on, and I really enjoyed being here.
Of course. So that's all for today. I hope you have a great week. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Just remember you are special. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.